During my 8 years as the chief official White House photographer for the Obama administration, I documented all the important moments of his presidency. The emotion, the tough decisions, the stressful times, the fun times, but also showing what he was like as a dad, as a husband, just as a human being. To me, that shows how the job of the president should be done.
That was a clip from the new documentary, The Way I See It, which documents the life and career of former chief White House photographer Pete Souza. It airs tonight at 9 o'clock on MSNBC.
After President Obama's time in the White House, Souza moved to Madison and continues to share his photos on Instagram.
We spoke with him earlier this week about the documentary and his thoughts on the current political situation.
The job of the chief official White House photographer is to make authentic photographs.
Photographs break down the idea that these people are somehow different from us.
The first time that we went to the UN, he and Reggie Love played basketball. At one point, President Obama blocks Reggie's shot, and he goes, "Did you get that block?" Number one, you have to have trust between you and the president. And two, you have to have access to everything that's going on. And because of my situation, I think knowing Barack Obama and him understanding the role of the White House photographer, I was able to have that access and have the trust of him to let me be there when things were happening. Unlike his predecessor, Mr. Trump does not allow his staff photographer to capture photographs of life and work inside the White House.
If you just stacked up the images of the Obama presidency and the Trump presidency, you would see the two stories of America in the starkest possible contrast.
Describe those 8 years working with President Obama. What was it like?
Working at the White House is like trying to take a sip of water from a fire hose that never shuts off. I think that's an apt description of what my job was like. It was like every day, if I wasn't physically at the White House, I was monitoring my BlackBerry. I was always on call. And, and it was like that every day, every week, every year for 8 years. When Barack Obama was elected, I could see what he meant to the African-American community. This 5-year-old kid asked Obama, "Is my haircut just like yours?" President Obama bent over and let that kid touch his head and his hand.
That image stands for how kids will see themselves differently forever.
I thought, who is this man? How does he deal with crisis? Leadership, character, and empathy. Don't you wish we had that now?
You were literally like a fly on the wall, and you were capturing every fleeting moment you possibly could.
Yeah, which is why I never wanted to take a day off, because you can never predict when history is going to happen, or you can never predict when these fleeting moments are going to happen. And if you're not there, you're definitely not going to make a picture. So, my attitude was just be there all the time.
Do you miss it?
No.
Now you have life.
Look, I thoroughly enjoy documenting for history what happens in a presidency. There's no question about it. But it takes so much out of you physically and mentally. And I kind of put my personal life on hold for 8 years.
Let's talk about your social criticism of the current administration. When and why did that begin?
Let's remember how our current president began his, campaign, which was basically with the birther issue. He knew it was not true. It was all BS. And yet he knew he'd also get a lot of attention if he kept, harping on that issue. So I think after the election and before the inauguration, that transition period, my mind was going all different directions. The day after the inauguration, when he lied about crowd size, who does that? And sent his press secretary out to lie for him as well. I think that was when I said, okay, I need to speak out.
When I first met Pete, his politics were not at all evident. Pete changed. He could no longer be this fly on the wall.
Pete Souza is getting attention online with replies to President Trump's tweets.
I had to speak out. I knew how the job should be done.
Pete felt the urgency to show what the office can be. This was a 911.
Reagan and Obama respected the dignity of the office. The presidency is a serious job, and I was going to do everything I could to make sure people didn't forget that.
Was that unusual? The White House photographer doesn't have an obligation to be Switzerland and be a diplomat and keep their opinions to themselves?
Well, I think when you're in the job, yes, absolutely. I mean, you didn't see me doing this while I was in the job. But, you know, on January 21st, I became a private citizen. I had a unique vantage point, having worked for not only a Republican and a Democratic president, but arguably the most iconic Republican and the most iconic Democratic president of my generation. So I came at this from a unique perspective. And I thought that because of that, I could frame things in a way other people couldn't.
Do you have a picture for every single thing that Donald Trump has lied about with Barack Obama?
Pretty much.
The documentary airs tonight on MSNBC. Pete, great to see you again.
Great to see you,
Thanks for your
Pete.
time.
Yeah, thanks, Mark and Susan, for having me on.
Interesting man. Really
Yeah,
is.
now a Madison resident, lives here in Madison.